This is college football at its absolute best.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, June 1st. I love that Landon's dogs are barking. I don't know if his feet are hurting. His actual dogs are barking because my dog scratched his collar, but it sounded like it was coming from the headphones. I was about to ask if that was yours or mine, and then I guess yours heard me and had to say no.
Gotcha. Yeah, she hasn't barked all day, but yeah, she wanted to decide to do it right now.
She's got to get on. We have a lot of people that are like, I want to be guest on the pod. Carly's the same way, or Kai, whichever one that was, and they just got to get their little bit in here before this big weekend coming up, man. Lady Vols got it off to a hot start. Talk a little bit about that. Of course, you've got the regional games in Clemson, South Carolina. I guess it's Greenville, South Carolina. Are they technically in Clemson?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I thought, but it's Greenville, right?
Yeah, Greenville area. Yeah.
So dumb. We'll talk a little bit about recruiting. First games of the season have been announced. I was so excited about one of them, I didn't even notice the first game being an 11 a.m. start. So it is what it is. We've got some basketball as well to talk about. It's June. We're talking basketball. Love it. Everything's cool.
Yeah, winning's fun. Beating Alabama is even better. Got to mention Vols softball. Getting that win over Alabama, just rubbing their face in it,
Yeah.
Just killing them.
Yeah.
Dixieland Delight. I just put out a tweet that, the list of what Alabama's beaten Tennessee at. And I did include women's soccer, and then the rest of it is murder, assault.
So that's what Alabama won in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So congrats on them. If that's what they're shooting for, the mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, Nate Oates is getting his way. He's working his way, and Greg Byrne. I mean, they're about to be titled wardens instead of athletic directors and coaches. I mean, that's the direction that program's headed. So, couldn't happen to a better group of people. I mean, I've been saying for a long time there's something about Nick Saban. He sold his soul to the devil, and I think the devil is coming back for retribution here soon.
Yeah, he wants a little bit more. Time's up. Maybe payments due. That interest hasn't accrued, so yeah, he's wanting some more.
Absolutely. And Vols over Alabama in Tuscaloosa this year. Write it down. That place, how much they hated us storming the field, they might storm the field in anger.
Speaking of that, did you see the fines for actually storming the field?
So I saw some tweets about it. I've been very disconnected this week. So I did see some tweets about it. They did settle on a punishment, though.
So I don't know if this is the only punishment, but the fines are rushing the field or court is $100,000 for first offense, $250,000 for second offense, and $500,000 for third offense. No offenses. So each institution has reset. So there's none right now. Everybody's at 0.
So was that not the original? I thought that was the original. I guess it wasn't.
I don't know. I'm just like, who? $100,000 for that?
Yeah. Who cares? Who cares? I mean, again, we talked about this. We don't necessarily plan on storming again because that was just the right moment. So, I mean, for Tennessee, it doesn't really matter. I hope we never experience 15 years of pain like that led to that moment. But, I mean, I like watching it. So, other teams, hey, you reset $100,000. Spend it next season. I want to see it. Yeah, and I want to make fun of you if it's not justified. I would love to make fun of you for it. So either I'm going to cheer because it's awesome or make fun of you. And I like both of those options.
They made that off the spring game.
They did because they charged. They did.
So, yeah, who cares? Maybe they're planning on doing it again. So if that's the case, well planning on Danny White's part.
We're going to jump into this episode. We do got a couple things we got to really talk about. It's not quite a summer episode like the last few weeks have kind of been. Before we do that, I do want to tell you guys about our good friends at Underdog. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectibles store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autographed helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card release, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT graduates and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Stop by the University Commons Shopping Center next to Publix and Domino's to check them out. They're open 6 days a week with live YouTube shows 3 nights per week. Remember to always bet on the Underdog. Shout out to Underdog Sports. All right,
Love those guys.
It's NCAA baseball time. It feels good to be back.
Dude, I can't wait for tomorrow. Just all day baseball. I mean, all weekend baseball. Gonna be a lot of fun. And here's the thing about Tennessee. It's like, number one, you got a long rest. I mean, it feels like we haven't played in a month.
It's weird. I feel like we haven't had a ton of summer episodes where we just kind of, just talk about nothing for a while.
Yeah.
But we've only had
some of our best episodes, though.
For sure. I'm not complaining, but we've only really had 2. It just feels like we've had a bunch.
Yeah. And everybody's got a clean slate. And Tennessee they have the pitching, they have the hitting, they got to put it all together, but they have the team to make a run. Now, did they get any favors with their draw? Maybe not. But you're going to have to beat a top 4 team to make it to Omaha anyway, so might as well just go ahead and get out of the way in a regional.
And I don't think it's, you mentioned, it's not super favorable, but it's also, I mean, it's a pretty good draw. Like, it's not – I like where Tennessee's at. And another thing I kind of want to add before we talk about just the regional grouping is where this baseball program's at. It feels like you as a Tennessee fan, you expect Tennessee to be in a regional. Mm-hmm. And I know this season, especially with the way it started all rocky, and then there was even some frustrations as then there were some peaks and valleys after that. The season kind of felt like a disappointment. Tennessee's a 2 seed in the NCAA baseball tournament, and that is a drastic change from where they were at when Tony Vitello took over this program. And so I'm not sitting here like trying to encourage Tennessee fans to ever settle. Because I mean, that's the kind of debate with Rick Barnes where the basketball program's at right now. But the fact that in just a few years, this baseball program is like, oh, we're in a regional. Of course we're in a regional. Like, yeah, this is an exciting time of year, but Tennessee should be here. And so I think it's just huge. It says a lot about not only where this program's at, but how quickly it got there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of like you said, but I mean, this team was an afterthought. Just making it to Hoover was a big deal.
Right.
And now it's like, I mean, it's not, but it kind of is. It's like Omaha or bust is kind of what you're thinking, especially like where you were preseason. I mean, absolutely, it was Omaha. Now looking at this team, that's a difficult thing. And you look at last year, and it's tough to win this tournament.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think you say it like, Omaha or bust. And when you lay out season goals for teams and expectations, I don't think it's crazy to want and think this team could be in Omaha. And firsthand, we heard it from Chase Dolander and Christian Moore. Like, this team expects to be in Omaha. And we talked about last year how it's hard as a fan. I know a lot of fans find it easy, win it all or it's a failure. For me as a fan who I take a lot of different perspectives for it, like last year, it's hard to call that season a failure. And I know how it ended wasn't ideal, but at the end of the day, one team gets to win it all. And for the same thing for the fans that are win or go home kind of deal, win or bust. What's the difference in making it to Omaha and losing, your first 2 games and losing at Lindsey Nelson in the Super Regionals? In my mind, if you're win it all or bust, there's no difference. Obviously, you'd like to be in Omaha. You'd rather lose those first 2 games in Omaha than losing Lindsey Nelson to Notre Dame. But at the end of the day, it's like only one team wins it. If you catch a hot team, if they get you on the right weekend, there's so many things that go into it. But I mean, I don't think saying this team could make it to Omaha and this team should be expectant's probably too strong of a word. This team has the capability of making it to Omaha. Like, that's not absurd to say. And it's easier to kind of, for me, it's easier to say, let's see how the season wraps up before I kind of determine where this team fell and how they accomplished things. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the positive Vol in me for sure. So no more negative Vol talk. I mean, this is all positive Vol here. But I mean, I think this team, we heard it in February, January. Actually, I guess that was like in December. Before the season started, though, we heard it. Like, this team is, like, their goal is to make it to Omaha. There's just no, like, they're not being quiet about it. They're not pretending it's hey, we just try to win the next one and go where we're going. This team wants to get to Omaha. And like you said, it's here. It's time to do it.
Yeah, and like you can sit there and feel sorry for a regional, or you can, be like, hey man, we can beat this team. ACC champs, what's that? Okay.
Was it Coastal Carolina in 2020? Anybody, anywhere, and then BYU travels across the country, like I mean, I think they sent the equipment truck out before they even knew if the game was happening. Like, that should be the kind of the mentality. Anytime, anywhere, you're going to play a super regional, 99% chance you're not coming back to Lindsey Nelson.
Yeah.
So
and as a
anywhere.
Tennessee fan, I'm just like, I mean, yeah, the draw it's not the easiest regional, but when you look up, what you're lined up for, if you make it out of this regional, you play a 13 seed. If you were going to go to Indiana State, you'd probably be, playing, or they had us playing Wake Forest, which was the number 1 overall seed. So, like, you're going to have to go through a really good team to get to Omaha. And so, I mean, again, it's not great, but if I'm Clemson, I'm way more upset than I am if I'm Tennessee, because Clemson's a 4 overall seed, and they probably got probably the best 2 seeds.
Definitely,
I think for Tennessee, yeah.
Well, I mean, and I think for Tennessee, and I don't think so. That might be an arguable point, sure. I don't think it's arguable though that Tennessee, there's so much that's been unsaid about Tennessee by Tennessee. Like, there's a lot that's been left on the table. You've seen this team can hit. What's not only what their starting pitching rotation looks like, their bullpen. And then, I mean, the Achilles heel of Tennessee all year has been the defensive play. I mean, what if you get Tennessee on a weekend where they don't make errors? What happens? You sweep LSU. You've talked about this several times this year. You said it. Like, that team sweep, which, I mean, looking back now, that might not be as big of a thing as it was if it had happened then, but yeah. You get the point. So, I mean, I'm with you in the sense of, like, this is not a 2 seed I would necessarily, it's similar in my mind to Wright State, and where you're going, how do we end up with Wright State? How do we end up with Tennessee?
Yeah.
Obviously, program levels are a little bit different, but team-wise, I think it's a similar, what the heck, this should not have lined up this way.
Yeah, and like Tennessee wants that first game is crucial in this regional. You want to win that first game. That was huge for 2 years ago with that Wright State game.
Yep.
I mean, that was a game you're like, oh crap, like we're in for it now. We win that game, and then we go undefeated the rest of the way to Omaha. So
right. And I think you can go all the way back to 2019, talk about the importance of winning the game. When you don't win that first game, it makes Sunday so much harder.
Yeah.
Sunday becomes extremely difficult because, first off, you have to win to stay alive, and then you turn around and play that doubleheader if you do win. So, Saturday you play that doubleheader if you win. Sorry.
Yeah. And Tennessee's sitting in a good spot where, like, yeah, they can, like, play matchups with pitchers, but they have it set up where, like, hey, we can play 5 games here and still have a starter, like a quality starter for those 5 games. A lot of people don't have that luxury, but Tennessee does. So I like going with the same rotation. Go Andrew Lindsey, Chase Dolander, and Drew Beam, and then if you have to play another game in there, then you throw out Camden Sewell or a Chase Burns or an AJ, or you play a bullpen game. I don't know, but Tennessee has plenty of pitching where I don't think that's a worry at all. Now, it hasn't been great the whole entire season, but I do think Tennessee has it set up where they're kind of built for this NCAA tournament.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. It's it's definitely you're in a better situation with your pitchers. I mean, far and away better than you were in 2019. And it's not a knock on the guys on that roster. But when you just talk about, some of the guys you named that can come out and start games, I mean, that wasn't a thing in 2019.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it is. I don't disagree with that at all. But I think if you're any team, you want to play, you would like to play one less game if possible.
Yeah. And Tennessee, like they're, you mentioned the errors and stuff. A lot of that has been fixed, and that's why Tennessee has been playing a lot better these last couple weeks. The thing that's, not made any sense.
I think there's still the problem is with the errors, and this was happening. They were just coming in quantity as well. The quality, like they happened at the worst times. They seem to always come at just the most inopportune times for Tennessee when they do come. They are much less than they had been.
Yeah, I mean the head scratching thing now is the hitting just disappears, and it's usually a guy who doesn't, throw a hard fastball. He throws junk the entire time. A lot of stuff that moves, and Tennessee just can't hit it. And I think that Charlotte's going with a lefty who has that, that strikeout ability, that stuff that moves, isn't going to blow you away with anything, but those from that left-handed side, and Tennessee has a lot of left-handed hitters in that lineup that has struggled, pretty recently. Blake Burke is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Tennessee's going to make it out of this regional, they need guys like Blake Burke and Christian Moore and Jared Dickey and Maui Ahuna, those guys to really, play up to their potential. I think you're going to get it from Jared Dickey you have all season. But those other three guys have kind of, it's kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster. And I don't think that's too harsh. I think they would probably agree with that too. But I mean, this is where, you separate the good from the great. So I think Tennessee needs their, best players to step up. And, if they do that, I think they beat Clemson. I mean, Clemson, the only thing that worries me let's talk about Charlotte first.
Charlotte, for sure.
One game at a time. Andrew Lindsay going against his former team, I think that's cool. I mean, Chase Dolander did it last year, so it can be done. It worries me a little bit just because like it could go like one or two ways. I feel like really good or really bad, but hopefully it is really good. They also have Charlotte has a former Vol, Austin Knight, plays second base for them. I think he has 11 home runs on the year. Colin Kramer is the starter that they're pitching, 4.5 ERA, 61 and a third innings pitched, 64 strikeouts, 6-4 record. I think he's their Sunday guy, so not a huge. I mean, again, it's just a lefty that they're throwing at you. And then Cam Fisher, he leads the nation in home runs. I think he's 8 for 8 stolen bases. He's hitting around 352, 61 walks on the year. He's actually a Knoxville native, went to Hardin Valley, then Walter State, and then transferred to Charlotte. So leads the nation in home runs. Don't make a mistake. Yep. If he gets one, you walk him the rest of the time. I'm tired of seeing, guys just light it up after they hit one. Let's not have that anymore. So, but yeah, that's kind of all I had really on Charlotte. Not super impressive. They've played a lot of, really good midweek games. They've played South Carolina twice. I think they beat them twice. They've lost to North Carolina. I think they got swept by Virginia Tech. They beat Coastal Carolina, lost to East Carolina. So they've played a lot of really good teams in those midweek games. So a team that can, score, but the pitching just isn't that impressive. Hopefully I'm knocking on wood here. But yeah, I think Tennessee should, really come out. And, again, they haven't played since last Tuesday. They should be fired up to play baseball again. I'm fired up watching them.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I like what you mentioned about don't let the guys they're going to hurt you. And that I feel like the last couple series, especially, that has been the story of the weekend. The guys that are supposed to beat you, and that just shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And then Clemson.
Are you wearing a regional shirt right now?
I am.
You're wearing an NCAA regional shirt? Okay, this guy's ready.
Yeah, dude. Pumped up.
I didn't know they sold those. Just learned something new today.
Yeah, this is from 2 years ago.
I like it.
Yep. It's I forget what I think. Yeah, it's Champion. Champion, no free ads, but those shirts shrink a little bit. So this one's getting a little tight. I don't know if
Okay.
I just ate dinner, so I don't know if that has anything to do with that. That's
That
what I'm
might
going to
be
say. It is.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah. But ACC champs riding a 16-game win streak. Just swept the ACC tournament, so they've played quite a bit.
Right.
Tennessee's got the rest for sure, but 84 stolen bases is what I'm worried about them. If Tennessee does face them, I think if they win tomorrow, you play at 6 on Saturday.
Okay.
You'll play the winner of the Lipscomb Clemson game. Clemson opted to play the earlier game, which, I mean, cool. I just feel like you'd get more people in the stadium at 6 o'clock. But
yeah, that is weird for a home team, which, I mean, I guess with it being summer, maybe they're kind of banking on that. I don't know. Yeah. And you think just in like South Carolina, like that's, it's going to be a little harder. It's hotter. Blah.
Yeah.
So that is weird.
Yeah. But yeah, 84 stolen bases. So I think that's in like 59 games. So definitely something to watch, especially with, we know how Tennessee's pitching is. Right. But it's also like, doesn't seem to really bother Tennessee that very much if people run on them. But I think Clemson's a little different in that regard. A lot of teams in the SEC, just besides Kentucky, don't really try it a whole lot. I don't know what the metrics say. What does the chart say, Butch Jones? But it is their first regional since 2018, and again, kind of sets up with the winner of that Auburn regional. But I think it's interesting because this is like Tennessee's. A lot of these guys have been in this situation before, especially Tennessee's pitchers. And you mentioned Blake Burke and Jared Dickey and Christian Moore. Those guys have played in this regional. Griffin Merritt did not play in it. No.
Transfer. I honestly don't know who all you just named.
Christian Scott's played in the regional.
Yeah.
So there's guys on this team that have played and been kind of in this position, so they kind of know what to expect. I mean, this is an away regional, so I guess that's a little different. But I mean,
that's another thing kind of going into concerns. Like Tennessee's just not played great on the road. You were hoping maybe that because regional is supposed to feel neutral, even though one team's hosting, and you were kind of hoping for maybe that neutral site looks a little better for Tennessee. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Tennessee wins if the weather's good in that game, because I just don't know. But it really, I mean, both teams played in it, but I mean, it's not a lot to say that the rain picked up when Tennessee was on the mound. I mean, legitimately, I think 3 innings, it was said, the rain's picking up as soon as Tennessee took the mound. And so, that definitely does it. But I mean, kind of the reverse of that is Tennessee still wasn't able to hit A&M really, really well. So, I mean, that's, that kind of is what it is. I hope that weather played a factor in that, and that, it's different this weekend. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to get the friendly confines of Lindsey Nelson the rest of the time. So you got to find a way to play on the road this week. You got to.
Yeah.
You will not be back in Knoxville, my friends.
Lipscomb, I forgot about them. Tennessee beat them 10-0 earlier in the year through a shutout in a midweek. I think they have a program record in home runs, but they didn't hit any against Tennessee. So in a lot smaller ballpark. So
I just heard that Xander Seacrest is going to start if Lipscomb's his opponent. That's what I heard.
That's what we want.
Okay, good deal.
Big League Chew himself.
Did you ever get that signed, Big League Chew, yet?
No, I need to. I need to get on to him about it.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. I got a question.
All right, ask away, my friend.
Who is the biggest X factor in your opinion for Tennessee to win the regional?
Can I give you two? Can I give you one offensive, one defensive?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Jared. It's your show, man. You can do whatever you want.
All right. I think it's Jared Dickey offensively. I mean, not that there's not been games where he's played well and the team hadn't been able to kind of keep up, but he's kind of seemed to be the gear that gets things rolling for Tennessee's offense. Like if he's rolling, Tennessee's got a chance to roll. So I think he's got to hit the ball well. I think that's very important to Tennessee's lineup. Defensively, I think this one's a little out there, but how important and crucial pitching is in postseason, and a guy who has stepped up a lot this year when his roles change, I think it's Chase Burns. What can he do coming out of the bullpen? And if he's called upon earlier and maybe brought back into a starter role if needed, what does he do? I think he's going to be the biggest. Obviously, his chances won't come as often as Jared Dickey's, for example. But when he is called upon, that probably means it's do or die right now. And we need that psychopath Chase Burns that we saw against Vanderbilt back on the mound.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I don't disagree with either one of those. I'm going to, instead of Jared Dickey, because I think I know what I get out of Jared Dickey,
right.
I'm going to go Blake Burke. I just think you need to have that kind of power in your offense. And I think if, that top of the order is huge for me because if they can get on base and Blake Burke can hit the way that he's capable of hitting,
right,
I think Tennessee's going to score a lot of runs. Now, if they don't get anything from those top 4 or 5 batters, it's usually pretty rough. And I'd like to see some runs score. I'd like to hammer some overs in this regional. So, yeah, I'm going to go Blake Burke just because I think Tennessee desperately needs him to step up and be the hitter he's capable of being.
Yeah, I like that one. I mean, I feel like that's a good one just because when he's hot, it makes the pitcher's job so much more difficult. It makes the coach's job and all right, Blake's, we're going to see him the same. Or like that. And then when he's rolling, I mean, he's able to make pitchers try to pitch around him. That usually, and he's gonna swing at some stuff. So we're usually talking about adding to that pitch count. So he's just crucial in a lot of ways. And then, yeah, I mean, if you can get a couple homers out of him, I mean, that's obviously first off, it's points scored. But for the confidence of everyone else, seeing an absolute missile in front of you, I mean, that's got to do a lot to the confidence.
Yeah. And I like to see Chase Dollander continue to dominate on the mound. I mean, especially in that first inning, just go out and make it a breeze. I don't love seeing, solo shots in the first inning. You're
right.
on an uphill battle from there. So, if we can keep it 0-0 or, we can score, but if we can put a 0 up on defense on, whoever we're playing, I think that's huge in that first inning. Also, Christian Scott, man. I mean, that's a guy that they need to they have to have him in the bottom of that lineup continuing to break. His glove's there. I mean, he's a freak.
That entire outfield's played so good this season. I mean, there's just they've done a lot, and they've kind of gotten maybe looked over a little bit just because there's been some shaky stuff in the infield, but they've played excellent. And I think that's another. I mean, I think they, like you said, they've shored up a lot of their issues, but I think especially that middle infield. You got to find they're so good. I mean, they're, like you've seen it. They're so good. They just got to find a way to get rid of those moments that whatever it is slips and
it's the easy plays that
it's the easy plays, dude. I mean, it's insane.
But they are like, I mean, during probably that first half of the season, I was like, man, we never turn double plays,
right?
And now we're turning them all the time. So I think that's been good to see. You're runners on base. It's not a huge issue anymore,
right?
Now it's keeping that runner on first base has been the issue.
Which, I mean, with Tennessee, that's unfortunately, like, they've obviously committed to, like, this is how we're going to pitch, and it is what it is. I mean, that kind of goes into a little bit of the pitching, a little bit of the defense, but keep guys off base at all costs. Don't let them get there, and then you don't have to worry about keeping them on first.
Yeah, I think we do the same thing like Tennessee did. The Lady Vols did in softball. They were the first ones to score in Oklahoma City. I think we just go ahead and start off the game with the solo shot and just open the thing up with like, hey, watch out. Have Clemson's in the stand watching or down in their players' room or whatever, and
right.
They just see that and you're like, oh God, it's on.
Right. Speaking of Lady Vols, I mean, unless we got anything else for the regional, just real quick.
That's all I got.
All right. Lady Vols play again Saturday. Play Oklahoma, the home team. Were they the number one overall seed in Omaha?
Yeah, they are.
Or Omaha, Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, that's Saturday, 3 p.m. Go Lady Vols.
Go Vols.
I mean, dude, I'm first off, super happy they made it to Oklahoma City, where they're at this season they had, but beating Alabama, yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, and welcoming Oklahoma to the SEC will be fun too.
That'll be a nice little treat. Yeah, they're gonna, especially their softball team is dominated in the Big 12. They're gonna maybe regret that decision, along with their football team and probably their basketball team and probably their baseball team. They're gonna all regret it.
Yeah, 100%.
I can't wait. Dude, Brutus is not loving this show. It must not be our finest work. He's over here trying to play. He's
playing.
He's holding. I'm shocked you haven't heard him whine. He's holding this ball, this rope.
Just looking at you.
Oh, he's like, I mean, he's now chewing on it, entertaining himself. But I'm shocked you couldn't hear him a second ago. Whine. Maybe you could, but I couldn't hear it through mine. So, all right, let's talk a little football.
Let's do it.
Football. Game time's announced.
Game times.
This is again, I mean, what a freaking everything we dreamed of. I guess game time's announced. Can you say game time's announced and then say TBD? Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. It's not.
Yeah, what in the world? Especially for that game. Like, I mean, really, no one's gonna care anyway.
I'm gonna guess noon.
Right. It's got to be noon.
But 7 p.m. Florida. I mean, first off, me and Landon, we were making plans for Florida on Tuesday night, and looking at staying in Jacksonville maybe, and doing kind of like what people do in Baton Rouge, stay in New Orleans, bus to Jacksonville, or Baton Rouge, New Orleans, bus to Baton Rouge kind of deal. Stay in Jacksonville, bus to Gainesville. Call this bus company. I mean, Frat Star was on the phone trying to. I mean, I don't know. Could you hear him trying to
Joey Boots?
His name was Joey, and I mean, just dropping a bunch of dudes on me, and I mean, it was, and he would not take no for an answer. He was trying to get my credit card information that night, and I'm like, dude, I told you when I called. I just said, dude. I mean, I say dude a lot. I said when I called though, I said I just want a quote. I'm just trying to get prices, trying to figure see what it is. And he gives it all to me, and then he's like, all right, man, I think you need to buy this tonight. And then talking about times, Gainesville never has night games. A day later, 7 p.m. So
is that what he said?
I said, yeah, we're probably gonna go to the game. Just in case it's a night game, we'll return around midnight, 1 a.m. And he was like, let's call it earlier, 10 o'clock or so, because it's they usually play day games in Gainesville. So, he's not wrong that Tennessee usually does, but
when you're talking about this dude being like a frat star, I just think of like the Goofy movie, the Cheddar, that guy. Was he talking like that?
Not so. I would make fun of him like that, but it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
But I mean, he was. He must not have made a sale.
Just over exaggerated.
Yeah, he must not have made a sale though in a couple days, because he was trying to get that credit card info, and I was, no, dude, can't do it right now.
Dog.
Yeah,
you can't help your brother out.
No, and I mean, he was like, yeah, I mean, you can get your deposit back until all the way up until August, but I don't want to book it tonight. Why would I book it tonight? I just wanted prices.
Yeah, we don't even know what time the game is.
Correct. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and then that ends up happening. I'm excited. The Swamp at 7 p.m. It's gonna be fun. I mean, Tennessee should WTFA.
We're gonna tailgate, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure, bro. I mean, unfortunately we're gonna have to post game tailgate the nooner in 11 a.m. in Nashville.
Good Lord.
I guess Friday night we won't be going very hard, so we can wake up and get to make it to game day. But I'm thinking I mean, listen, you can't go to Broadway at 4 p.m. That's just asking for trouble, because you're staying until 4 a.m. No matter what time you get there, you're staying on Broadway all night. So
Morgan Wallen says otherwise.
Yeah, I'm sure he would say otherwise. I bet you can go check that neighborhood ring camera. He's never home before 4 a.m. But yeah, so I think we go post game tailgate and then go to Broadway, because I don't know if I can do Broadway for 12 hours. I don't think that's a good idea.
Definitely not for the bank account.
Correct. Yeah, dude. I mean, We all, well, don't you don't have to buy, and Broadway doesn't have Bud Lights anymore. So if you want Bud Light, you're gonna have to post game tailgate.
Oh, they do have PBR.
Perfect. Little PBR and salt. Nothing better.
Oh God. Yeah, I thought that was weird because it is like one of the only few like Power 5 matchups, and
Right.
I mean, I guess they want ratings at noon too, but
that should be a 4 p.m. at the earliest.
You're right. Yeah.
It's killer.
Oh well. It. I mean, we'll get it over with. We'll celebrate it. A 4-touchdown win over Tony Elliott and company. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, for people going home, it's real nice. People not staying in Nashville that night. I bet you're very excited.
Oh, I'm pumped.
Well, you're staying in Nashville that night.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying for the people that you're gonna get out, you're gonna be leaving Nashville by 5 p.m. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've made the trek home after a 4 p.m. game. It's miserable.
Okay.
You leave at like 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Like 10 p.m.
It's good for the people that are going home.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I would be if we were coming home that night, I'd be so excited.
Yeah.
We're not though.
We are not.
We like to party. We're eating hot dogs.
That's
what we'll do right after the game.
Hot dog review ever.
Right after the game, we'll go to Daddy's, and then we'll walk back. No, we won't walk back across the bridge. It's not that bad of a walk actually. Get our steps in.
Speaking of a hot dog, we went to Pal's today, and Raven's like, "We gotta go to Pal's." I'm like, "All right, let's go." So she's like, "I'm getting a hot dog." I was like, order it as a glizzy and see what they say. She wouldn't. Yeah. I got 2 sauce burgers and a large Frenchy fry.
There you go. All right. Solid. Good choice.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't do a hot dog review though? Raven wouldn't do one?
No, she didn't she won't even let me like take a picture of her if she has food in her hand, let alone like in her mouth.
Eating it. That's disappointing. I'm gonna tell her I'm disappointed in that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, she wasn't thrilled about it. So.
Yeah, whatever.
I would have done it.
I
should have took the last bite and
right. I'll have an iguana review, and I'll do pimento cheese do suggested pimento cheese on my dog tomorrow.
That's different.
Yeah, I should have at least 3 hot dog reviews for you this weekend.
Okay,
3,
yeah,
not more.
Dude, pump out the content.
Yeah, we'll get it. Actually, surely they have them at Cereal, but I don't know. Never had one at Cereal.
I love it.
We'll find out.
I do hear Brutus now.
Yeah, he's. Let me just stay like that, Brutus. It's kind of cute. It's kind of annoying. I live here. This room's a wreck. I've got so much crap in it.
Oh, before we move, let's keep talking about football a little bit.
That's him right there. I just took that picture.
Oh my gosh.
He's been sitting like this for 38 minutes since we've been doing the show.
He's ready.
Yeah.
Tell him he's got another hour.
Yeah, brother, you're gonna have to wait. I don't even know if he's eating dinner yet. It's out there for him. Go eat, bro. Go eat.
Yeah.
Go eat.
It's like, dude.
He's like, we haven't even gone on a walk today. What are you doing?
Yeah, he's upset.
He's mad, very mad.
We'll stir crazy. But yeah, I'm pumped for the swamp. But I was kind of the same thing. Like that's all I read was the 7 o'clock, and then I was like, oh, noon. Really?
Yeah, I think it was Jesse that texted us. I didn't even notice. I was so excited for 7.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll have a good time either way. Even
right.
though if we can't really have a huge tailgate for Nashville, we'll party after.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys I'm not tailgating that game. I'll come to tailgates. I'm not setting up.
Yeah.
So let us know where you're at, and then I'll set up a post game tailgate. And by post game, I mean TV, cooler. That's all we need for that.
Yeah.
We're good.
And then straight to Aldean's after.
You said it like it was 2 words. Aldean's.
Aldean's.
Like his name's Aldine.
It is Aldean.
Does it throw you off hearing him talk like it does me? It's Jason Aldean. Jason Aldean's the Australian, right? Or is it someone else?
No, that's Keith Urban.
Oh, that is Keith Urban. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
It's so weird to hear him talk.
It's like, how do you sing country? What?
It's like the British people who sound like Americans when they sing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
weird.
Beatles
Did you see
are American.
Ben Joyce?
Ben Joyce.
Need to throw that in there.
Are you just talking about his first appearance?
Yeah, his debut.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that.
Debuted with the Angels. Had a 1-run lead in the 7th and came in and gave up a hit and then 2 strikeouts and a pop-up through, I think, 12 pitches. 10 of those were strikes. I think 11 of those were over 100 miles an hour. So just a freak.
Stupid.
I mean, just came in there and dominated the way that only Ben Joyce can. And also they're calling it a sinker. I mean, that is a fastball.
They're calling his 103 mile per hour fastball a sinker.
Yeah, which I guess it's the way he holds it, but
Gotcha.
dude, it's straight gas.
So what's he throwing like? What's he throwing like a 4-seam then?
I don't know.
I guess it doesn't technically have to be added on, but it seems like if you could throw that 103,
yeah, I think
you'd be able to throw a.
He threw one cutter and it was like 89 miles an hour.
I wouldn't like to stand in the box for it because I'd probably piss my pants seeing something come at me 103 miles per hour. But I would love to see like one pitch come at me 103 and then another one come at me at 88 out of the same dude's hand back to back. It would be incredible to watch. Maybe a VR version of it I would enjoy watching. Not with an actual ball coming at me.
One of the coolest parts is he gets his first strikeout at 102 miles an hour. Free. And then he gets the ball back after it's like thrown around or, thrown back to him. And then he just casually just tosses it in the dugout. I don't know if they're asking for it over there, but like, how do you just like take that in and just like toss it? Yeah. It's just like, man, I just had a strikeout in the major leagues. How do you like compose yourself to actually like do well after that? I'd be done.
I mean, just to even come out of the bullpen and do that, like that jog's got to be nerve-wracking, intimidating, exciting. Like it's got to be so tough to get your breathing, heart rate down to just, like you said, throw a pitch under control at 102, 103 miles per hour.
Yeah, we're talking about all this. I'm considering that Ben Joyce might be a cyborg.
I mean, we don't know exactly what they did when he had Tommy John, so I guess it's possible.
Mm-hmm. It was behind closed doors.
Yeah. HIPAA, all that stuff. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's in some random filing cabinet that we can't get to.
I mean, I think you're right that it is a little concerning. We talk about, I want Chase Burns to be a psychopath. And I mean, we had Chad Dallas on and talked about him being a psychopath. I think Ross Kivett said he's the biggest psychopath he's met. Ben Joyce doesn't really carry himself. Obviously, he pitches like a psychopath, but he doesn't really carry himself like Chase Burns against Vanderbilt looked like a different human being. He looked like he accepted the villain role right then and there and ran with it. Yeah. Like he turned into the Joker when he takes off his mask in the bank, Dark Knight Rises or Dark Knight. That's what he looked like against Vanderbilt. I don't know if I've ever seen that out of Ben Joyce. And like you said, that's concerning because that may mean he's a robot.
I think he is.
Like a guy that throws that hard his K strut should be just mean. And it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not psychotic enough for me. It's not.
He's so nice. Like outside of baseball, it's like, how can you throw that hard? Like, how do you have that much anger behind your arm to throw it that hard, but you're so like nice off the field? I don't understand.
Yeah. Robot.
It's gotta
be.
He's
been programmed that way, Landon.
Gotta be. And then they made a clone in Zach.
Yeah.
So, also I've met the Joyces, really nice people, by the way.
Well, they're all cyborgs apparently, so
they are.
We're gonna have to think about that a little bit before you say that again.
They were nice cyborgs. Yeah, they were.
Chat GPT, just get out ahead of things.
iRobot. It was like when iRobot, like when they first introduced him in the movie before you just went psycho. That's what Ben Joyce is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
All right.
awesome debut. Love that.
Yeah.
Also, he pitch against the White Sox. I was hoping Crochet would get to throw too. That'd been pretty sick.
That would have been too much.
Yeah. Some recruiting.
Yeah, let's talk recruiting.
Yeah, we're gonna have Matt Ray on here in a little, or here not in a little bit like today, but we're gonna have him on in the next week or so to kind of talk about this recruiting class. But Tennessee's training for a lot of really big time names: Mike Matthews, Ron Wingo, Williams, Wannery. Sammy Brown was in for an official visit last weekend. They landed Peyton Lewis, so it's becoming like Kamarion Franklin, Cameron Fountain, Dylan Stewart was wearing a Tennessee sweatshirt at the NIL series in Nashville. So I mean, it's just been a good kind of momentum shift for Tennessee in recruiting, and it seems like it took them a while to finally like benefit from the season that they had, but it seems like now that they really have some momentum in recruiting, and and that's why they're not going to land all those guys, but I think that the fact that they're competing with Alabama and Georgia and Clemson and Ohio State, I think tells you a lot about how far this program has come the last few years under Josh.
For sure, and they've got to start winning those battles. Win a few this year and then start really winning them next year. And it kind of goes back into what you were talking about, or what Eric came when he was on, how that recruiting cycle has kind of changed in the last few years, where now it's this July, it's so important and so crucial.
Yeah.
And that's why you're seeing kind of all the early. I mean, you kill with them. You got to win them eventually. So, but yeah, it's good to Tennessee hadn't been in the mix recent years, so it's good, and kind of goes back into you got to win games this year. You can't ride the momentum of last year forever, and so you got to win games this year.
Yeah, and I think people they come in for a visit. I think that's great, and you can see how really cool this town is. But you watch a game in Neyland Stadium, and you're just like, man,
yep,
I want to be part of that.
Absolutely.
It's just a little different here.
Maybe not a nooner against Austin Peay. I'm sure it's still cool, or I know it's cool, but that Alabama game, like that kind of game.
Scoring 60 points instead of like
21 to 13.
Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, but that seriously, I don't know how anyone in the world could be at that Alabama game and not just fall in love. I would love to talk to someone who watched that game and was like, I mean, yeah, it was okay. The environment was okay. I would love to talk to that person.
Yeah, how do you not just like commit on the spot?
And I know I'm biased, but I've never in person, which obviously isn't hard to believe, but I mean, even on TV, I've never seen anything like that ever in my life. That place was rocking.
It's funny, like I think it was Caleb Herring on the field. Like as I ran by, I saw him. He's a massive human being, by the way, but it was really cool. Like, I mean, they were kind of filming and taking everything in. I'm like, I mean, that's got to be easy sell.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially if you're there, like you live that. Yeah. But yeah, Tennessee's really got some momentum recruiting. Not just on offense either. A lot of defensive guys. We also got a crystal ball today for a 2026 tight end. This guy just played 1 year in high school and he's already, I mean, cool. I'll take it, but that's just wild to think. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess baseball it's not weird, but football it is, which I guess that says a lot about how big recruiting is and
right. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have Matt Ray on soon to kind of discuss, and maybe Eric Kane on some to discuss a lot more in depth about recruiting and behind the scenes stuff and stuff like that.
Right.
Get you some more content.
This dog, dude. I love him to death, but good God. He's right. We haven't seen each other all day, have we, Brew? Have we, Bubba?
How old is he?
He is 10. Turned 10 in April.
10.
Old man. Had him since I was 18.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell by the way he's wanting to play.
Oh, I mean, no. Oh, I mean, which I guess you kind of can. Like yesterday, we went on I think it was like a 2.5 mile walk. I mean, and he was starting to get a little slow and used to, like, I could walk him all day and fine. And he used to, I mean, he used to go on hour long runs with someone, and he'd come back, sleep for like 30 minutes, and then be up and like good to go. And now it's like if he did something like that, he's down for the count. For like if I took him on I wouldn't do it. If someone took him on an hour long run, he'd sleep all day, and the next day he'd be moping around.
Just wore out.
Yeah.
My joints. Yeah, so Carly, the corgi, for those of y'all who don't know, they told us, like, at the doctor, they're like, yeah, she'll eventually, like, when she gets about 3 or 4, she'll really, like, calm down. She's like almost 7.
Still
that
just
dog, has never calmed down.
Love it. All right. Anything else for recruiting before we go?
No.
All right. Big news, weird news. And I don't know if I've been kind of disconnected. Josiah Jordan-James, though, is returning to Tennessee. There are rumors that as a walk-on. Have we verified any of that? Like, what's the deal? Because obviously Tennessee doesn't have any. Is someone going to end up? Is there one more out the door? Like, do you know the deal at all?
I think it is a walk-on status right now.
That seems like a crazy, like,
but I'm wondering
way to skirt the rules. Does it not?
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people, like, I didn't have a lot of scholarship money, but I had some, but a lot of it was just like they paid for whatever, like, I wasn't getting in school. And I know he has good grades, so I'm wondering if it's like, I mean, what's that scholarship really look like anyway?
Well, yeah, I just think it's like it's crazy that you can skirt the scholarship restrictions that way. A guy that's been on campus for how long now, and you can just go, oh, he's a walk-on, so we're gonna get like that. Just that NCAA wise, that seems crazy to me.
Yeah, and it's something. I think he had to enter the portal,
okay,
and leave. Like, he couldn't, like, return to, or not the portal. He had to go to the draft, leave all team activities.
Okay.
So he could return as a walk-on.
Gotcha.
Because I think it was past the time or whatever, so he couldn't. The only way he was able to do this is that when he went to the combine, he had to, like, step away from Tennessee, basically.
Gotcha.
And I guess this all came to fruition, like, this past weekend. Like,
interesting.
Wasn't really an option, and then it was an option. So,
well, I mean, if it, and I'm not saying like there's no one that could leave, quote unquote, that that wouldn't hurt Tennessee. But if they worked it out to where no one that currently planned on being at Tennessee next year has to leave because of scholarships, like, shout out to the compliance office for figuring that out and making it work. We've dogged them over the years. So
I guess we can hold our standing up for now.
But let's verbally say standing ovation, and then if it does happen, we'll give you the actual standing ovation.
Yes.
Verbal standing ovation for the compliance office, assuming they skirted some weird stuff to get here. Because
it's that next year is definitely going to be a rule where this can't happen.
This is going to be the Rick Barnes rule here comes soon.
Yeah, but I think it's huge for Tennessee to not only just have a really good player in Josiah, but that leadership, that can't be coached.
Right.
So for him to come back and, having him, we're thinking Vescovi and Josiah was out. So, like, the fact that we get these two guys back with some added transfers that can score, I think Tennessee's going to have a really good basketball team, dare I say.
Hard to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. Like, because, I know Dalton Connect and Chris Ledlam, those guys, like, came into play. But then you get a guy who, plays that wing, can play the 4. What is what do the minutes look like?
Right.
Because I'm looking at Jordan Gainey and Jemai Mashack, and those guys and Dalton Connect. Those guys were, probably going to step up into a lot bigger roles, and now it's
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, I think it's something to. It's very interesting for sure. I mean, I think this. Kind of wonder how much he's making in NIL to, turn down going to overseas. Obviously he doesn't get that draft grade and whatnot that he'd wanted to return. So I wonder what that NIL money looks like to say, well, I won't just go play overseas. I'll come back to Tennessee if I can. So I'd like to. I mean, we've kind of talked about that for basketball players more so than anybody else. Like if the NIL money is good enough, and you're not gonna be making good money in the NBA, why wouldn't you? So this kind of seems like this is why you would. This is a situation you would.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of is the only thing that would make sense, because those other two, you'd be making, money. I don't know how much the G League gets or how much he'd make overseas, but I assume he'd probably make more overseas than he probably would in the G League.
Right.
And I would probably say that he would probably make more money in the G League than he would at Tennessee, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he will just be kind of that, doing everything he can and not NIL and really make a name for himself. I don't know. I don't know what his I don't really know what his major is. But hey, we'll welcome him back, and hopefully he can work on that 3-point shot a little bit, and I think we should be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be excited for this basketball team, and added this week.
Yep. So who would your starting five be?
Oh God. See, let's revisit that.
I mean, I feel like whatever we say, we're going to be wrong, but
yeah, and that's a great point too. Give me some time to think about that one. Let's revisit that, because I thought about it a little bit, but not. I mean, I'm with you. I don't think anything I think about and say is going to be right, anyways. But
yeah, I mean,
who knows?
I think 3 spots. I mean, Josiah's starting.
Surely.
Yeah.
It would be
Santi and Zakai, and then who are those other two?
Right. And then Zakai's probably not starting when he
and probably Adu's
beginning of the season. Probably.
I don't know.
I would probably say should be too. So
yeah, maybe it's matchups. Maybe you go Josiah at the 4 or the 3, depending on who you're playing.
Right.
Ledlam starts if Josiah's at the 3, and Dalton Connect starts if Josiah's at the 4. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's how it works. Maybe we just play 5 guards. Play that FAU ball.
Do it, baby. Just roll it out there.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions? Do we have any more?
I have one, there's one more question in here. Are you all going to make it to a 7:00 kickoff in the Swamp?
Yeah. I'll be there.
I've never not made it to my seat.
I've never not made it to my seat before the national. I would say the national anthem. I can't remember a time I haven't sung the national anthem very loudly in my seat that people around me are probably like, "Shut up, dude. You suck." But I sing it loud and proud, baby.
I've missed a few national. I've never missed a kickoff though.
I've never missed them. I definitely have 100% never missed them running through the tee ever. Yeah. We made it to our seats at Baton Rouge before they were even done warming up.
Oh yeah, we were ready to be in that thing.
Yeah. So look out.
And we had no clue where we were going either.
No, I would. Oh yeah, we had to walk around the whole stadium. Well, the layout.
I did the same thing I did the same thing at South Carolina. I literally had to walk around the entire stadium to get to my seat.
Just the layout of Baton Rouge Tiger Stadium is just not good.
Oh, and the walk all the way up to the top was brutal. I mean, the incline of Tiger Stadium all the way up is like this. You had to walk up a billion freaking roundabouts to get to it.
Yeah, it was brutal. Fun time though. Fun time.
Yeah, great time.
Fun times in Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah.
All right. Stupidity.
Yeah, did we get any more questions, or was that the baseball? We got it already.
That's the only thing I got. I do have another good friend to talk about. That's our good friends at Knoxville Tours. Check out our good friends at Knoxville Tours today. They have tours you don't want to miss. If you give them a call today at 865-688-6232 and mention More Important Issues, you'll get an exclusive offer on their 5-day MLB tour. The offer will include a night in Cincinnati and 3 nights in Chicago. That will include 3 baseball game tickets, stadium tours, a city tour, and more. Give them a call today, 865-688-6232 for more details on August 4th through the 8th Motor Coach Tour. Don't forget to mention More Important Issues. You get to see the Reds take on the Nationals, the Cubs take on the Braves, and the White Sox take on the Yankees. So a lot of good teams in there you get to see. So go check out Knoxville Tours, and don't forget to mention More Important Issues to get an exclusive offer on that.
Love them. Do it. Be a fun trip.
Yeah, it would be a fun trip. I think my parents are actually, no, I don't know.
I didn't get to read off this fail, so I'm going to read it off as stupidity. I mean, it's not a stupid. It's just, the most unfortunate slip of letters. I can't remember, or swap of letters. I can't remember what game it was in the SEC tournament, but did you watch that video where instead of, he was talking about turning the clocks back, he switched the L in clocks and moved it to back. So you can imagine. So he took the L from clocks.
Mm-hmm.
He said he removed it from clocks, and then he moved it to back. And it was just a very, very unfortunate slip up in the SEC tournament. Yeah. Very unfortunate. Did you not see that video?
No.
It got deleted from Twitter. So I don't know. I mean, Twitter got moved and just brutal.
Dang, poor guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it was either. What announcer it was.
My first one is Kentucky, man. What are y'all doing? How are you hosting? NCAA, do something. They are literally charging $185 a night for players to stay in dorm rooms because all the hotels in Lexington are booked because of a country music festival.
First off, it's Railbird. Let me read it. I think Zach Brown's gonna be there.
Yeah, it is good.
Your boy was thinking about making his way to Railbird. Zach Brown's headlining one of the nights. Tyler Childers is headlining the other night. Of course, every hotel in like a 90-mile radius is probably booked for that. Also got Charlie Crockett, Weezer, Sheryl Crow, Whiskey Myers, Nathaniel Ratliff, the Head and the Heart, Nickel Creek, Amos Lee, Ricky Skaggs, Charles Wesley. Who else is there? I believe that's really the only ones that I would want to see. But yeah, that's an absolutely insane lineup.
Yeah,
in fact, if I was a baseball team there, I probably wouldn't play in the regional. I'd probably go Railbird.
Well, I think everybody else is thinking like our baseball team isn't going to be hosting anyway. So,
right.
I mean, it shows how much faith they had. But, I mean, staying in dorm rooms for $185 a night is insane.
And like, sure, they don't look like that bad at dorms, but it's a twin bed with a not super comfortable mattress in like you're sharing a small dorm bathroom.
Probably community showers
with 3 other dudes. I mean, they said there'd be more showers available, so I got to imagine there's also community bathrooms there. Yeah, just a brutal experience. So I don't envy that at all.
I definitely hope they lose their regional
and I saw some baseball teams saying this will probably be nicer than hotels we stayed in. I'm thinking if you're getting put in a bad hotel in the end, like
if you're a D1 program, you're not staying in a bad hotel.
Right. That's what I mean, yes. Like, is it super nice? Maybe not, but not one where you're having to worry about, nasty hotel stuff. And I know dorms aren't typically like that, but they are lived in by, 18 to 20-year-olds. So they're not the cleanest anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't buy that they're staying in nicer or bad hotels. If you're a D1 program, you're
not for the NCAA tournament. No, never.
No,
never. I think that's part of the regional is like the home team has to block off enough hotel rooms for for the traveling teams, and obviously Kentucky didn't do that.
Yeah.
So.
They should have built
Whatever.
like a Fire Fest.
Just
thing
in
for
Kroger
everybody.
Field. They should have. They should. If they should have had to stay in tents in Kroger Field.
Build the bubble. That's what they should have done.
Sorry, coaches. No alcohol there. Apologies.
Mm.
Which I did see a TikTok of a guy talking about how he's like all the bench players in college baseball, like they just want to go to fun college towns because they're having a good time. I can't remember where they talked about they ended up going, but
I mean,
like they were like, yeah,
people love going to freaking Vanderbilt.
right.
I love going to freaking Aldean's.
Aldean's. I got to meet this Al Dean guy. He sounds like a good dude. I wonder if the rest of his family, the Deans, are good people too.
Aldean's. We're going straight there after the game.
No, we're not.
You have any more?
No, that's it for me.
I got one more, and it's Eli Drinkwitz. Why are they even letting him talk at SEC Media Day or the coaches meeting?
You say?
He's just like, I mean, he was talking about NIL and how we have a broken system and we just live in the unknown. Like, dude, you're dead last in NIL. Like, it's not even close.
And you were also not good before NIL either. So why are we listening to you about NIL?
Right. And then he's like, man, I'm a history guy. So, like, the fact that we all get to come together, it's like the 13 colonies come together, but we can't decide on 8 to 9 games. I'm like, dude, you don't want to play 9 games. You want to play 8.
But I really would like everyone else to get to 9 games.
I don't think Tennessee's going to. I don't think they would like to do 9 games.
Have to with 16 teams. Number 2, that's another SEC game for you for home games a year.
Well, and like the thing is, like, okay, so
yes,
Greg Sankey once, like he said, every kid should get to play
right
in every stadium in his 4 years.
Not happening right now.
If the thing is like 8 or 9 games, like if you're trying to get to that point, why is there a debate? Because that's probably impossible. It is impossible with 8 games.
Right. And I mean, I just think not even just for that, I think for just for the sake of like, it's better for college football to have 9 power. I mean, I think that's another thing. All right. You're not going to go a 9-game SEC schedule. The NCAA, like it needs to be, you're playing a Power 5 team then in that 9th game. That's what it needs to be. I think it's better for the sport. I mean, we can sit here and argue about injuries and stuff, but in for a lot of these kids, like in a year or two, they're gonna be playing 17 games if they're lucky enough. So,
well, my thing is with the 9 games. I mean, we're already expanding the college football playoff. I mean, how you get 12 teams, you're probably pushing 4 SEC teams in probably every year.
Right.
4 or 5 maybe.
Right.
I mean, I just feel like that's so many Power 5. I'm not complaining about it. I just feel like the wear and tear on the players does come into effect at some point.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but Cedric Tillman got hurt against Akron. I mean, like, you know,
yeah, like injuries happen. I get it.
And so I just think I just think it's better. I think overall it's better for the sport. And you're talking about too with NCAA, you have a 100-man roster too, which I know
Well, it's also like everybody who's not Georgia right now is like they want to get as many wins as possible.
Yeah, for sure. But at the end,
and they're like other like Ohio State, they don't have to go through a gauntlet,
right? But at the end of the day, you don't respect Michigan's amount of wins every year because you've seen their schedule. So what does it really matter if you win those games that people don't respect?
Well, but they're in the college football playoffs, so
right. But for SEC teams, you've got a pretty much undefeated 1 loss to get to even have a chance to go
right now. Yeah.
So like you theoretically, like it really like that 9th game shouldn't matter in the sense of that. Like you still got to beat those teams or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Well, and like, are you going to go to like? So you wouldn't do the 3 permanent opponents.
I think you have to if you go to 9 games. I think is that right? I think you have to, and then 6 rotating.
Okay.
To like you said, for Sankey's kind of deal to work out, I think you'd have to. You have to get rid of divisions. But yeah, I mean, I think divisions is kind of dumb anyways now, because probably what you're going to do, you're probably not going to do any restructuring. You're going to put Oklahoma in the East or one or the other, one in the East, one in the West, and like geographically doesn't make sense anyways. So I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons that the SEC should move to nine games, and I think that's one of them. Yeah. One of the many. So, but yeah, Drink's an idiot for sure. Yeah, he's a dumb nerd. Dumb nerds are the worst.
It's like he's just got a comment for everything, and it's like
he could never solve a Rubik's Cube. That bum.
Yeah, it's like no one gives a rat's ass what you think.
He could never do this.
You're not even like you're like hanging on by like if there was somebody that was just like, hey, I want to join the SEC, but you have to get one of the teams. It would be Missouri who got kicked out.
God, please, let's do that. Let's please do that. That's all I got, man. That's it for me. For me and my house.
Me and my gang. All right, cool, man. Well, guys, have a great Friday. Game day's tomorrow. Hot dog reviews this weekend. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
They're coming.
Be a lot of fun. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back on Sunday night, and hopefully talking about a super regional berth, and maybe Tennessee softball still rolling. We'll see where they're at.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks again. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.